Hey there, and welcome to Be the CEO of Your Life podcast. I'm your host, Olga Lacroix, a mom, a former therapist, a certified coach, and a mindfulness teacher. I am here to share valuable tips and insights for all of you mothers and busy women out there. Why? My goal to help you take care of your mental well-being without sacrificing your life of accomplishments. Whether you are juggling family, career, or personal growth, this podcast is your go-to resource for becoming the best version of yourself. Let's dive in and start mastering the art of balance together. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I've got something ready for you that I think is going to make you think. I don't know. I really hope it does. So, as you know, I am both a therapist and a coach. And although I don't do therapy anymore, that hat is still very much inside of me. Once a therapist, always a therapist. Why is it that every time I'm going to record an episode about a subject, I feel like sharing a part of me with you? Maybe because you guys have told me that that's helpful to you sometimes to just know about, like to have a story attached to that. And I almost never want to share stories about other people that are not me. But also, I think that there is something about the subjects that I choose to talk to you about that I understand at a really deep level that ends up being somewhat personal. So today I want to talk about looking for love/validation in all the wrong places, in all the wrong ways. So I want to tell you that once upon a time, when I was desperate for answers, I went to see, I don't know what she was, definitely not a therapist, sort of like a witch, somebody who came highly recommended by a friend of mine, another therapist, and said, you know what, she just has all the answers. And that appeared so appealing to me at a time when I wasn't really trusting my inner gut, my inner wisdom. It felt like so much better to just have somebody come and tell me, like, here's what's going to happen. Here's what you can do. Here are the answers. Turns out that she actually doesn't have the answers, didn't have the answers, and is not what I got from her. But this I got from her and I really loved it. Okay. She, after I finished talking about all the things that were happening to me, and I can certainly now see I was victimizing myself in that story, she looked at me and she says, your problem is that, and I quote, you are a needy princess. Not the answer I thought I was going to get. Not what I thought I needed to hear. But I love that description of myself because one, was very accurate, and two, was exactly what I needed to know about myself that I wasn't able to see. I was being a needy princess, and I want to stick around the needy part, okay? Because I think that many of us are walking around being needy and not noticing it. So let me first define what I mean by being needy. Needy is somebody who needs reassurance from the outside world. Please come and read my email. Make sure that there's no spelling mistakes. Is the tone okay? She can also, or he can also be somebody who tells the same story a million times over and is not just there to describe a story or to vent, but sort of to get something from the person they're telling the story to, whether that is understanding or a sensation of, I feel sorry for you, something. You need something, some level of reassurance. And so you tell the story almost the same to everyone involved. Needy can also come as somebody who's like desperate for attention and will do it in any way they can get attention, positive or negative. They just want that attention. So they talk a lot, or they make a scene, or they get really upset. Okay. What is your neediness? How does it show up for you? I'm definitely not the person who talks too much, and I'm definitely not the person who wants negative attention. But at the time, my neediness was 100% showing up as wanting somebody to be with me all the time. Anybody. Just wanted to have company. And I feel that I probably showed up to my relationships, all of them, as that energy of like, you're here. I'm gonna grab all of you and please don't leave me. Needy. Needy. So when we have an unmet need, that I am convinced that unmet need has been unmet probably since childhood. Since childhood, you've had a need that could have been attention, most likely attention or validation or just permission to exist and be exactly who you were. And it hasn't been met. And so we grow up with that unmet need and we don't know how to fulfill it in our adult life. And so we go through all kinds of behaviors. I'm going to describe some of those behaviors here in the podcast for your benefit. So if you see yourself in any of those behaviors, you can course correct, meaning it's probably not making you feel great anyways, because when we're in a place of neediness, we don't feel empowered. We realize there is like that needing of that other thing or personal reassurance or words of affirmation or whatever it is, wherever it is that you're getting that reassurance from, it doesn't feel like secure and safe and empowering. You know is a need. And it feels like, God, why do I have that need? Okay. You're a bit annoyed by it or exhausted by it. So if you see yourself in any of these behaviors, please don't shame yourself. Don't be like, oh my God, I am also a needy princess. And the princess obviously is that I wanted everything. Not only was I needed, I wanted everything my way. And I think that's one of my greatest skills in life is that I know what I want and I want it the way I want it. That's not bad. However, the neediness that had to go, and I'm so grateful it is gone. Goodbye. Okay. If you do see yourself in any of these behaviors and you come to the awareness that perhaps you are looking for love and validation the wrong way, you can then ideally go look for help, get yourself a coach, get yourself a therapist, because you've got some healing to do. And it's very hard to do this entirely on your own. But perhaps just having this awareness will be enough of a catalyst for change. You do need to change. If you see yourself in any of these behaviors, just know deep inside in your heart, it's between you and I, you need change. Change is required so that you can find joy, confidence, empowerment, so that you can actually have better, healthier, longer relationships. All right. So if you don't see yourself in any of these, keep going the way you're going. Your needs are met and you're good. You might have moments of neediness, but if it's not a permanent thing that you just feel is everywhere, move on. But if you don't, please get yourself a coach. I'll be happy to coach you on this or somebody on my team, like happy to. It's worth your time and your investment because the payment of that is priceless. So when this lady brought up that to my attention, I then went to hire a therapist, somebody who could actually help me figure this out. First of all, I recognized that she was right. I was needy and I didn't like the feeling at all because I wanted to be empowered, but I couldn't get to empowerment from a place of neediness. The moment you're needy, you forgot that you've got power. Okay, so let's go back to that unmet need. And I want to bring you to like early childhood or any kind of your childhood, your inner child. Your inner child knows exactly what you're missing and is going to go to any extent to get it, whether you're 80, 12, 44, 21, it does not matter. When your inner child has a need, is always going to come out, is always going to try and do it. So as adults and grown-ups, it's our job to go back into our childhood and look at our perceptions of childhood and think to ourselves, like, was that accurate or is it time to change? Because I'm a grown adult now and I get to choose how I want to see these parts of my life. So neediness, example one, and just please know that I am only giving you a few examples that I'm thinking of. And then, there's probably a million more. This is just so that this episode is half an hour and not, I don't know, 8 days long. All right. So a way in which you may be showing up from a place of neediness, trying to get love but not getting it, is through manipulation. And I know you probably don't see yourself as a manipulator, but if you're super attached to the outcome, and the only way in which you will feel loved is by hearing words of love, you might set up the stage a bit too much to get that result. But you know what the problem is? If you do get those words of love and affirmation, their impact won't last long because you deep inside know that you organized, manipulated the whole scenario so that you could hear those words. So what does that look like? You might say, oh, I'm useless. I know I make so many mistakes, to your coworkers. Oh, I know how you guys handle me. It must be so hard to work with somebody like me. I feel so bad. I made so many mistakes, and that's work on you. You see where I'm going with this? I'm kind of guilt tripping my coworkers to give me a compliment, to reassure me that although I made that mistake, they still love me and want me to be a part of their team. So that's in a small scale. But that every day, God, I can see some coworkers rolling their eyes and being like, good, Olga. So you made a mistake. And you might get a bit of that annoyance from them. And in turn, tell yourself, God, they do hate me. I knew they did. So that's one way. Okay. Another way would be by telling your sad story over and over and over and over. That or another sad story. But you feel that you can finally connect if you can really tell humans this bad thing that happened to you and it is so sad, and you want everybody to treat you with a lot of care, and like, you know, you're this fragile box with lots of little glasses in it that can break at any time. So please tiptoe around me, hold me with care because I'm fragile. And so you tell them your story that once, maybe as a child, when you told us that story, you finally got your mom and dad's attention, all of it. And you're like, oh, this works. Okay, I see. And maybe you're telling your coworkers your sad story and your problems, and they also care at first, and you get all of that attention. But after a while, that technique gets old, and people just get like compassion fatigue, and they're like, "Oh my God, just get on! Like, how long has it been? Move on. Go see a therapist. Do something." But just bring us the other side of you. And so again, you reaffirm to yourself, like, see, nobody cares. I opened up, I told them my vulnerable heart, and they don't care. But really, you had an agenda, maybe not consciously, but unconsciously. And you've become heavy because you feel heavy because you haven't gotten what they want from them. Or they did give it to you once and then you stuck to it. You're like, this works. I'm going to keep telling you my sad stories. Another way in which your neediness can come across is, but what I was saying, wanting to spend all the time with everybody and feeling really left out if they don't, if they need time by themselves. Like, I still have to catch myself in that. Like, oh my God, I'm surrounded by introverts. They need time alone. I need to be with them every waking window. And not that I will be that, but maybe if you let me, I'll probably be that way. And so what ends up happening is that you don't leave people alone. What are you doing today? And what are you doing on the weekend? And what are you doing on Monday? And what are you doing next weekend? And what are you doing on the summer? And while everybody appreciates a friend who's asking, what are you doing, and creating plans, sometimes we got to read cues and we got to let people reach out to us, and we have to self-contain. We have to be okay with them not answering to our texts right away, not answering to our phone calls right away, them having a life aside from ourselves, even if that is your partner. That's okay that they have a life apart from you. We're all individuals before anything else. So those are ways in which your neediness might come across trying to create a bond, and it does the complete opposite. It backfires on you. So what do you do then? First and foremost, recognize you've got an unmet need, and likely comes from childhood. I would love for you to just talk to that inner child of yours and say to him or her, listen, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have people all the time. You don't need to hear that reassurance or tell your savvy story to connect. The limiting belief here is that if people are not sorry for you, if people are not telling you every possible way, I like you, I want you, inviting you, that then they don't care. You go from black to white. Either they care and they're all in or not at all. And so you have this maladaptive way of connecting, which actually is not a connection, is a disconnect, and is coming from an agenda, a hidden agenda that perhaps you're aware you have, perhaps you don't. So you would say, I love you, so you can hear that I love you back. It's not that you felt like saying I love you, is that you felt like hearing I love you, and you're going to manipulate the scenario so that you get to hear that. Some of you might create a really dramatic story in your head, believe it, and then say it to the person so that they reassure you that this fear, this illusion in your brain is just an illusion in your brain. I fear one day you're going to find somebody better, younger, I don't know, with more money, and leave me. And we might say that aloud so that we hear what? A reassurance. But that can be taxing on the other person. Like that constant reassurance, that constant, you're good, I love you, I will always choose you, is exhausting. So pull up your big boy girl pants and cut it. Cut being needy. How do you do that? One, recognizing there is an inner child in you still very much alive who needs his, her needs met. What is it that I need? When you're in that needy element, and sometimes that could come across as anxiety. Just feel like I need somebody to tell me that I'm okay, that this is okay. When you're there, ask yourself, and what is this neediness asking of me? And what is it that I really need? Why am I telling my roommate the same savvy story again or another one? Like, what is it about me that brings these stories? Like, what do I need right now? And if the answer is connection, then just choose to connect without that. What do I have in common with this person? What would I feel like doing that is connecting? Maybe it's playing a game. Maybe it's having a conversation about your day. Right? Like you don't need to seal the deal with any of your maladaptive behaviors of neediness. If I could have recorded myself today, I coach 5 people. The message to everybody would have been this. What do you want? I hear, I should, I need, but what do you want? Let your heart be the one that determines how to supply your needs. And you be the person, the supplier, as opposed to looking for it outside of yourself. So if you fear rejection, and that's your love language, is to get everybody to not reject you, what can I do? What can you do personally? Like I was asking as if I was you. What can I do as a person to not feel, to like, what is the opposite of rejection? Belonging. What can I do to feel that I belong? And now this is on you, it's your task. You're going from like somebody else has the key to my problem to I have the key to my problem. This is a great time to remember that life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And if this feeling is inside of me, what is it asking of me? Where is it taking me? What's the gift? Do an audit. Do an audit of how do you tend to connect with people? How do you tend to supply to your own needs? Do you use your friends? Like we all have the negative friend who just comes to us because they love our positive energy. I just love when I'm around you. And that meanwhile, you could be like, and I don't, you drain me. Because they just come and dump negativity. They don't even take anything back from that conversation. There is no growth. And then you're left with like, oh God, why are we having this conversation? I've got somebody like this in my life where it's just so hard to be there holding space just for somebody to vent. And they want nothing back. Just a sensation of, oh yeah, it sucks. Your life sucks. That's the form of reassurance that they need. Confirmation that the life, in fact, sucks. It's so draining. I don't want to partake in that personally. So what do? I avoid them, which in turn tells them probably, see, people reject me. My life does suck. Even Olga will reject me. And I will. Because I'm not wanting to be a part of mastermind. Come, everybody feel sorry for me so I can continue to feel sorry for me. And now we're bonded. I can't. Right. And we all have that friend. If you are that friend, if you are listening to this, friend, you've got some inner child healing to do, and that's totally okay. But it is time to empower yourself and let your friends be friends. Let your partners be partners. Let your coworkers be coworkers, and you go see a therapist. You be the savior of what you're feeling. You be the one who says, hold on, I am capable of healthy relationships and healthy dynamics, and only I can change that. Breaking this pattern of getting love and attention in the wrong ways is doable. I do it all the time with my clients. It's so possible. The only lacking ingredient oftentimes is our awareness that the way we're relating is problematic and is not meeting our needs anyways. So this is really about meeting your own needs from the inside in, not from the outside in. It's all within you. It's about regulating our nervous system. For example, today I had one inaccurate thought, a thought that came to ruin a moment of otherwise happiness. It happens. We self-sabotage. And that thought sent my body to stress. My nervous system just went high, wire, like alert, alert. Siren goes off. It's like, whoa, danger, danger, danger. One thought. When I think back, when I step back and I look at the big picture, I'm like, oh my God, my prayers are answered. I get the thing that I wanted. And as I get it, I'm like, oh my God, what if this is terrible? What if my worst fear shows up? And just within seconds, I can self damage. What is tempting to do in this moment is to look for that reassurance outside of myself. Can somebody tell me what I'm experiencing is normal? Can somebody tell me that my thoughts are crazy? Can somebody? It is so tempting. I've done it a million times. Of course, my brain offers that to me. Call a friend who's going to get you. And sometimes I say, do that. But because I'm trying to change that dynamic, I'm trying to really learn to accept and welcome all joy, all happiness in my heart and in my life. I'm going to challenge myself. I have to self-contain and I have to see like, hey, stop being so needy. Don't go and look for that reassurance inside of yourself, but ask yourself, what do I need? What is my body asking for? Space, time, acceptance, let it in. I got it. In the end, I don't need somebody else to tell me anything. I just needed myself, my wisdom. So what we create by changing that dynamic is reliability on whom? Ourselves. So you can actually go and interact with your friends, with your partner, with anybody from a much healthier perspective where you don't need them to do and behave exactly a certain way and they feel a little trapped in your presence. When I'm with Olga, I can't make jokes. She gets very sensitive. When I'm with Olga, I can't step away. She just wants me to be attached to her hip. Right? We want to be experienced as freedom. And for that, my friend, we have to feel that freedom within us. We have to supply that need. All of our needs must be supplied within us. So I'm here to remind you that you're a good person. Just even telling yourself, I am a good person and I'm having anxiety. I'm a good person and I'm feeling needy. That helps your nervous system. I'm here to remind you that talking to somebody about these things is so important because it's hard to change some of these dynamics when your inner needs are in childhood and you don't even know they're there. So having somebody ask you the right questions, help you work through that. If you can identify an area of your emotions where there's definitely a lot of need and you haven't quite know how to break that gap, breach that gap, get a thought person to be around you, a coach or a therapist, both equally helpful. Come see me or somebody in my team. We will help you through this. It is fun for you and for us. This is when we uncover all the limiting beliefs and we're like, okay, I hadn't seen this. Now that I see it, I can do something about it. And this is when you get to relieve those people who you love and spend time with from being the thing you need them to be, and you give them permission to be who they are. Man, that just makes your relationship so much stronger and takes away the obligation part for you and them. takes pressure and stress, jealousy, probably controlling behaviors. It is simply the best gift you can give to yourself and to them to change the dynamic of neediness within your relationships and within yourself. And that, of course, comes from filling up your tank, making sure your cup is full, that your self-worth, your needs are met. And only one person can actually meet your needs, and that is yourself. All right. So go love yourself. Ask for help if you need to. As a reminder, my services are covered by health insurance if you are in Ontario. If you are outside of Canada, if you're outside of North America, we work with anybody who we can schedule into our time zone. We're happy to help you and coach you. We have currently reduced rates by the coaches that work alongside me, who are working towards their certification. We help you and you help us. So they need hours. They need hours, and you need somebody to help you through this. It's a match made in heaven. So we've got packages for the summer. We've got packages for the fall. Don't wait. Come join us. Just send me a message and we will hook you up. Okay. All right. See you guys next Monday. Bye-bye.